Today, a little channel photographic year in review in honor of the holidays and the end of the year. Well, hey everyone, it's Hudson. Happy holidays. And I hope that you are enjoying food, family, friends, and fun, and just kicking back and taking some well-deserved downtime as we round out 2024. I know that I am with my family and loved ones. So I thought I would just share, maybe you have a little extra time, some of the videos that just stood out to me, As I went through all of the ATS videos from 2024, I picked out a few that if maybe you missed, you might want to take a look at, or maybe even revisit if you haven't thought about it for a while. And I'm going to link a number of those while I'm talking here. I have a limited number of links I can throw up in the video, but each one of them will be linked in this video's full description. You can always get there by just clicking the title of the video or show more. And you can also scroll along the bottom of this video to see me talking about each different one. And we'll go through pretty quick. And I'll just read off this list, and then everybody can be off having holiday treats with their family. So the first one was way back towards the beginning of the year, approaching the scene 287, talking about the Z9's firmware 4.1, which is an older firmware, but more about using it, a drone, and some other camera equipment that I took to photograph birds in flight and action, shooting kite surfing and kite foiling and wing foiling in the Sea of Cortez down in Mexico. And I'm actually gearing up to head back down there in a few weeks with my core group of friends and family. We always rent houses down there and have a little winter summer vacation, kite surfing and kite foiling and wing foiling down there. So this year, I've decided I'm going to go really light. I carry a whole bunch of water sports gears and kig gear when I go down there. So this year, I'm taking my little DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and the Nikon Z50 kit with just a few lenses to cover everything I need to do. And the new Air 3S drone. You can see footage from the original Air 3 in the video. And you can see that video right here. So see some sights and sounds of where I'm so excited to go in a few weeks. I'll do a packing video for that too. All right, the second one I'm going to point out is one that we did right after we finished our printing workshop last winter, and it was why print and lessons from our printing workshop. And Rick LePage and I sat back and talked about the importance of printing and what printing can do for you as a photographer, how it can raise your photographic skill level by learning to print and seeing what getting a great quality print requires. I believe that making prints informs your photography in the field, and your photography in the field translates into those prints. And so it really is that last step in taking your photography up another notch, and it's an incredibly rewarding pursuit. It's not for everyone, but it's worth taking a look at. And we've got a full printing workshop coming up this winter. It filled up really rapidly, and we're starting to look at having a second printing workshop. If you're interested in that, make sure you email Rick LePage, email him at rick@hudsonhenry.com. I'll link him in this video too. All right, so the third one I'm going to point out is when I was playing around with pixel shift shooting when the Nikon ZF came out. And then Lightroom's enhanced panel included super resolution, and I started comparing the results of ramping up resolution by capturing a whole bunch of stills on a tripod in the field and having Nikon software combine it, compared to one good, sharp, well-exposed image in camera and having Adobe's engine add super resolution. And I thought the results were kind of surprising, and it made me kind of leave pixel shift behind. So you can take a look at that video, as well as my initial impression of the Z9's firmware 5.0 and a couple of tiny little primes. That was when I was starting to be impressed by what Viltrox was offering for the Nikon Z mount. And you can hit that video. That's approaching the scene 296, and it's linked in this video's full description. All right. The next one was approaching the scene 304, and this is when I really talked about some cool new upgrades that I did to my custom tripods, but also about how the new software is affecting panoramas. This was a panorama heavy video where I talked about really not using nodal rail measure points, no parallax point measurements anymore, because the software has just gotten so good at blending images that if you center the lens over the axis of rotation and use a pan and tilt tripod, you're pretty well set. So I talk about that and techniques for doing that and why I'm just really not measuring no parallax points anymore in that video, approaching the scene 304, and I'll link that one right here too. It's also in the video's full description. All right, in the approaching the scene 306, just a couple of weeks later, I played around with some of those new firmware 5.0 options in the Z9 and thought about how they work in the Nikon Z8 and Z9. That really brought some new power to the autofocus settings and some new opportunities to utilize those even more efficiently, shooting wildlife and action. And so I talked my way through that, and I offered my settings for the first time for download. And if you're going into the videos looking for downloads, you don't need to do that anymore. They've been moved. Not all the videos have the links updated, but if you go over to my website at hudsonhenry.com and you just go to the free downloads section there, you'll find all of those camera settings right up at the top, linked, each on its own page with instructions for uploading it into your own camera. So that was approaching scene 306, and that's linked in this video's full description. Approaching scene 311, a couple months later or a month later, went through Lightroom's masking power. I noticed that a lot of the people, when we were doing editing in workshops, were not harnessing the power of localized adjustments and masking in Lightroom Classic to its full potential. So I ran through and I showcased what you can do with masking and just how powerful it could be, re-editing an old image that I love from Michoacan, from a Dia de Muertos workshop years ago. So it's bringing an old image up to date and harnessing the power of this raw masking capability that we have now. And that one I'm going to link right here. That's approaching scene 311, and you can click right here to go check it out. In approaching scene 322, about 3 months later, I talked about packing really light for 4 weeks in Europe, photographing with just 2 bags for 4 weeks, you know, a big roller bag and my camera backpack. And so I talked my way through how exactly I pack for a trip like that. And I get tons of questions about, you know, what should I put in what bag? How do I handle carry-on versus check bags? Is it safe to check this? Is it not safe to check that? That video is my latest word on that, and I think it's pretty instructive. So that one's linked in this video's full description, approaching scene 322. And then the final one that I'll point you to is my latest word on why I love fluid heads and why I love pan and tilt heads more than ball heads and why I build the style of tripod that I do. And at this point, I have had hundreds of converts to my system and nobody go back the other direction that I know of. I mean, people get using these fluid heads and they're like, I am so thankful that you pointed me in this direction. Or the Acrotech Panorama head. And so that's approaching scene 326. I'll link it right here. It's also in the video's full description with the other videos. And I provide some tips to avoid some pitfalls that I see when I'm out on workshops of how people are using them. Make sure that you've got it set up right and they're using it correctly, and understand why I include a nodal rail with them. Just there's multiple reasons for that, and you'll see how it works and how you can flip that between a long lens and the nodal rail with a shorter lens on an L bracket. And so hopefully that is illustrative. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, hit me in this video's comments, reach out to me via email. I'm simple to get a hold of. And I hope all of you are being creative, being safe, hanging out with family. Oh, whoa. One more thing, I'll back up. We have an office hours where we want to look at your images. We're going to go through a gallery of your images. We're going to pick some standouts and award a few free prizes too. You can submit an image over at hudsonhenry.com/office hours. I saved my last link for that. And so you sign up, choose whether you want to watch and join the big free photography get-together meeting on Zoom or YouTube Live, and we'll go through your images and we'll announce a few winners, and there are upload criteria and instructions on that page over at hudsonhenry.com/office hours. Okay, so again, hope you're all enjoying the holidays. I hope there's lots of friends, family, love, good cheer, and that you're all eating and enjoying and staying creative while staying safe. And we'll see you next year.